everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Clear Point podcast with me, Randy Prizzle. As you can see, I've got my hand injured. Now, I dislocated my finger playing football, so everything isn't really good, sway, crispy, irie for me. It's more down the gutter, you know what I mean? But one of them freak incidents that happens, you play football, you go there and you think it's going to be fine, and it turns out that it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not the Mary J. Blige song. Don't in my life's just fine, fine. It's not fine at this point of time. But that happened on Monday. I'm going to go for an x-ray very soon and get the hand therapy sorted out. So all the nitty nice stuff, basically, the ball went, took the hand back, bounced up, and then dislocate the finger completely. So I was in a lot of pain. I had to go to the hospital, and it started even before I could be able to start the match. So it was literally about to start, just doing the little training stuff, going and goal, making a few saves, and then that happened, and then it was over before it even started. It's peaky like the blinders, but it is what it is. I'm not crying over spilt milk. It's just a bit of a sour taste because obviously frustrations are setting in. You would have wanted to play the game at least, but I didn't get to play the game like Triple H, but it is what it is. So that's the result of this, and I'm in therapy at least for 6 weeks. So I'm out of general contact sport and even work vibes and all of that for at least 6 weeks. So it's one of them things. I'm on the back burner, but we're gonna keep it rolling like the Limp Bizkit song. So let's keep going. Welcome officially to the Clear Point podcast with me, Randy Prizzle. That little intro. I hope everything is still good, shway, crispy, with all of you guys. But anyways, let me stop waffling on because I've been waffling on for the past 2 minutes. You know, so Randy, this is irrelevant what you're talking about, but I need to update you guys on the situation here. But anyways, let's move forward and let's go on to the random questions as we usually go on this podcast. So, what do you wish you understood better? Life. I think as a child, when you're kind of, let's say, in the teenage years and you're getting past, to understand that life is not just going to be a box of chocolates. You're going to get, well, it is literally, you're going to get a quality street instead of like a celebration. Do you know what I mean? Celebrations, everybody would eat the majority of chocolates in a celebration. Like quality streets, there's half of them you would, and then half that you probably wouldn't. So it's kind of that sense of where, if life taught me the lessons of like, you know, take a risk more, that it's going to be difficult in terms of, you know, trying to find a space of your own, trying to understand that things are going to cost money, in terms of where, if I probably knew a lot of this before, maybe things would have been different, you know, I mean, in terms of how I moved, in terms of how I went about things, in terms of how I, probably a lot more risks. I would have taken a lot more risks in my 20s and stuff, do you know what I mean? Because I think I was still in that phase where I was like uncertain of a lot of things, and I didn't really know where I was going in terms of like to pushing things forward into making movements, and I was generally kind of like afraid of the world, you know what I mean, because you don't know what's the right path to take and what's the wrong path to take, you know what I mean. You're constantly in that mindset of like, do I go here or do I go there, or is that the best place to go here, or is it the best place to go there? And a lot of things you go into and people are advising you, and sometimes you're taking some of the advice and it's wrong, and things you probably thought, I want to do this, and other people said no, it's best you don't do that, and you've kind of listened to them, and you know what I mean. It's one of those things, but it's led me to here, hasn't it? So you could say I have slight regrets, but then in the other hand I could say, well, it's led me to here, but I kind of wish I did a lot of this whole, let's say, putting myself out there to the world earlier. You know what I mean? At least by my early 20s. And that's probably something I would have probably wanted to do more. So 20s, yeah, generally, because I'm in my late 30s now, if people don't know. So I would have liked to have done that in my 20s, but it is what it is. Confidence issues, all of that was generally the things that kind of held me back, and a lack of trust in myself. But in terms of pushing things forward and making the right movements, I was unsure of everything. So I wish I probably was a lot more sure. So definitely that, in terms of obviously backing myself more. So that sort of thing I wish I did understand better, and confidence, confidence, and just maintaining that, and just belief in myself, belief in what I'm doing. So yeah, but listen, I'm a lot more confident now. I have a lot more belief in myself. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, 100%. We'll move on to the next one. What's the biggest wager you've ever made? I think it was a
1
sports
minute
one,
37 seconds
but
later.
there's a casino count. I think I generally was playing poker. I think this was in a casino, and it wasn't poker, sorry, it was blackjack. And I think I was down to my last £5, and I put it all on one color. I can't remember the specific color. I put it on, and I ended up winning. Um, I think I ended up with like £10. It doubled, and then I bet it again, and then I end up winning like I think 30 or something. And then the final bet, I think I lost some money, which then reduced it back down to 15. But then I kind of bet all that 15 on one of the other things, and it ended up being something that was beneficial. Yeah, sorry guys, I had to pick up the phone and take a call. So that's why you saw the brief pause and breaking up. Someone was calling the phone, and I had to pick it up. So it is what it is. I used the phone as well as the camera, but also, you know, all of that. But the biggest wager, as I said, I ever made, as I said, 15. I put it down and I bet it all on one colour. I can't remember the specific colour, and I ended up winning like 70 quid. And then when I won 70 quid, I took all my stuff and then said, nope, I'm not going to bet again. But my friend was like, no, you should bet again. I was like, no. I'm not doing it, because listen, I'm not an addict. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be someone who's going to go past the point of no return, to the point where you're going to keep betting, and you may even end up losing a lot. Do you know what I mean? And that 70 quid could do a lot. Do you know what I mean? And with that 70 quid, I ended up buying a lot of drinks for the man them. Do you know what I mean? We had drinks, celebrated obviously the triumphant victory for myself. So it was nice. Do you know what I mean? I spent it all on the man them. Obviously, if I didn't win that, the man them wouldn't got anything. So they had to be very grateful that I decided to cash out on the 70 quid, and then obviously buy around the drinks for the man them. Listen, big up the man them. It was what it was, and all of that. So that's probably the biggest wager I could say I've done. You know what I mean? I've not really betted. I'm not someone who bets a lot. I've usually bet £1 or something on lottery, and that was like back in the days, the national lottery, doing the rollover stuff. You know what I mean? It's again like Limp Bizkit, rolling. But you know what? It's one of those things where I'm not someone who likes to bet a lot, and when I do bet, I bet if I feel comfortable about the bet. I don't just bet just for like, yeah, let's spend the money, and just, I got to save money, and I try to navigate the best ways to maneuver myself to making more money. And so yeah, all right. But listen, if food comes to play, I'm spending the money on food. No doubt about that. Food is one of my weaknesses. I'm no lying to you right here. I love food, and food is something that captivates my soul and takes all of my attention somewhere else. It's what food does. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is there. Food, glorious food, all of that. But anyways, next thing. What was an experience you didn't think much about it at the time, but ultimately made you stronger as a person? Yes, what I went through in school. I think, it took a long time, obviously getting physically, assaulted. It took a long time for me to see that as a positive. in terms of where I wouldn't then take a lot of crap from other people. I'd be a lot stronger. It made me more tougher, you could say determined. It's not something, obviously, you could say through my late teens towards going towards an adult, I saw as a positive. Um, it kind of made me self doubt a lot of things, but I think ultimately down the line, it made me more of a stronger person in terms of where I use this experience a lot more to make sure that I'm not being belittled or demeaned or looked down on. I'll always like stand up for my own rights and make sure I make it clear to someone who's trying to take the piss that, listen, let's not do that. You know what I mean? Let's not fuck around like that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that one. The next one we'll come to. If you had to pick a single word to describe this year so far, what would it be? Not what it described, but it's a single word. Unpredictable. For sure, unpredictable. And that's just the weather. Do you know what I mean? Like during the summer, that's literally just going by now. We've had a brief period of sun, but the majority period has been rain. Do you know what I mean? But even with this finger as well, unpredictable. Do you know what I mean? So it really has been unpredictable for myself. Generally, work. You know what I mean? All of them factors. It's unpredictable. You know what I mean? Like the Jamie Foxx, unpredictable. I'm about to do something you never done before. Maybe not the usual. Tonight again, unpredictable. All of that. Do you know what I mean? So, very much so, I would describe that word as this year so far. Unpredictable. What was a situation you thought would be terrible, but you actually enjoyed it? Terrible, but I actually enjoyed it. I can't think at the top of my brain. My brain is gone. Terrible, but I actually enjoyed it. I guess if we're talking about food, because that's generally what I'd usually go to if it's something I thought was terrible, but actually enjoyed it. Black eyed beans. And the reason why I say that, because when I used to look at them as a kid, I didn't like the look of them. They used to scare the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. You're thinking it's a creepy crawly or one of these creatures from the dark depths of despair looking back at you. Do you know what I mean? But eating them, I discovered, hey, they're not so bad. They're just beans with just black eyes. That's why they're called black-eyed beans. Duh. But in general terms, when I was younger, I just didn't like the look of them. It creeped me out. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, one of them people that have the fear of holes or fear of like things just appearing in, let's say, a shape or cut out oval. It looks a bit, yeah, that kind of whole thing, literally, whole thing. But yeah, I'll go with that. All right, we'll come to the last one. What's your story about being under intense pressure and how did you handle it? Pressure. Work. It's definitely work life. Work life is one of them things that's always intense pressure. But I organise football as well, so I'm a football organiser too. And yeah, the one time I could say about intense pressure was when I'm trying to remember exactly the whole story without trying to, let's say, mention anyone's name or something, because obviously, listen, the intense pressure, listen, I've got involved in a few situations as being an organizer. I'm not perfect, especially in the earlier days when I was organizing stuff. It wasn't easy. A lot of people were, let's say, uncertain of how I would be as an organizer, and a lot of patience and things were tried because some people either didn't respect the fact that I was in that role or just didn't respect the session in general that I was running. And I had to check a few people, unfortunately. It is what it is in terms of where, listen, it's the case where some people have thrown fists, and I've probably participated in some fist cuffs as well, which has not been the right situation or right ways to handle stuff. But certain times when you feel like a line is being pushed and you've explained to certain people it is what it is, and people, let's say, push a barrier, you kind of have to stand up and make it count that, hey, this is not the way it's going to go down anymore. You can't be doing that sort of thing. Now it's going to the point where it's a nature where I'm going to have to step in, and words are not going to be used anymore, but actions are going to happen now. And unfortunately, that's what the situations was. And that's what I could say about that. Listen, I'm usually someone who is calm under pressure, but when you push boundaries and push barriers and keep pushing, you're going to see a different side to Randy. And that side of Randy is not something you want to see. You know what I mean? Trust me. Because people say, well, is that due to what happened in the past? No, it's just due to I don't tolerate disrespect. You know what I mean? And if you disrespect, push lines and push barriers and try to be in that nature where you're being disrespectful, then you're going to see a different outcome. And the outcome is not going to be words anymore. And that's what I'll tell on that. So yeah. All right, that's all we've got for these random questions. What do you guys think of the random questions? You can put your comments below on that one, or keep them to yourself. Excuse me, I think I got a little cold that's coming. Yeah, always seems to be having a cold. Anytime these things tend to shoot, the weather outside is looking crap. It's raining again, but it is what it is. But yeah, let's get on to what we're going to talk about, which is the worst ex ever. So, obviously, if people haven't watched it, it's available on Netflix. Crazy, crazy stuff. A lot of stuff to do with murders, potential exes getting involved in some really dark situations where certain things are getting turned on their head. And I'm not turning over like apple turnover. I'm thinking people are wilding out. It's going crazy. Like, exes are getting absolutely hurt in the situation. Not even them, but family members too. It's the insane thing where you look at it and you say, people out here have to be very careful. Very careful of who you decide to make your partner or who you decide to get with. You've got to do a thorough background check on that person. You know what I mean? I'm not saying stalk them, but I'm saying you have to find out a lot about them. And if your family is telling you this person is not right for you, this person isn't that one, if they're really telling you these things and you choose to ignore it, I'm sorry, but you have found it for yourself. But it's not just a one warning, it's a two, it's a 3-time warning. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this and I'm an advocate of, listen, you deserve to get, no, you deserve to get murdered. No. I'm saying in terms of where the warning signs have been there and you've chosen to ignore those warning signs, you've chosen to stick with this person, even though you know their past, you know that this person used to, let's say, harm people before, or even go as far as killing someone. You choose to ignore them and you choose to give that person the benefit of the doubt. It's something you kind of say in the realms of anything. You fuck about and you find out. You know what I mean? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just what it is. You fuck about and you find out. You know what I mean? And most of these people, I'm not gonna come to the case of obviously what one individual did in this program where they went as far as to target the parents. That right there is just, yeah, that's just evil. That's just dastardly on all levels, because the parent has got nothing to do with what you're dealing with your ex or whatever. Do you know what I mean? To go as far as to murder the parent or grandparent or whatever, it's a step too far. You know what I mean? But it's a step too far to murder anyone in any situation. if they're innocent, or it comes in a case of a war, in a case of a war of words. And this is what it is, where you can't handle certain things that have been said to you, so you lash out. And everybody can lash out, but you have to know the lines and the barriers of pushing it and going overboard. Yeah, there's steps. And I think if some people you know and you've seen, and you've been told before, or you've seen that this person has a violent history, or they've been inside before, or something of that nature. Do you know what I mean? You have to do your research on people before you get with anyone. You have to find out more about them. This is why, for me, I have to really, really take my time with trying to find a missus out there, because I cannot just jump in head first. You know what I mean? Like, let's test the waters and let's see what's going on out there, but let's not fully engage in that just yet. Let's find out a bit more about this person. Let's find out who she is, what her partner's histories have been like, what her exes would say about her. Because you have to find all that out. Do you know what I mean? You have to ask them tough questions to her. How are you like in a relationship? Are you someone that's going to lash out if things get bad? You know what I mean? Can you be cool and calm? Can you be relaxed about the situation? Or are you going to wild out if things don't go your way? You need to know all this stuff. When you get with a person, you need to find out, what this person is about. If this person's intentions are true, you know what I mean? Or this person's intentions are here to absolutely dim your light, diminish you, or put you in a position where they're potentially going to harm you. You have to find all this out. And that's important. You know what I mean? When you're getting with someone, it's word of life. Because this could be the difference between your life ending, or worst case scenario where you're getting locked up for things you haven't done, which in case one of the episodes I saw that on, or you're getting assaulted, you know what I mean, or worse. So you really have to fight. And if it happens the first time, you've got to run. You can't hang about. You can't stay about after that person's assaulted you. You just can't do it. Now, I know people would say, but if that person doesn't have the willpower, that person just is so caught up in that realm, feeling like they've upsetted their partner. You've kind of got to speak to your family members at that point in time. Speak to someone who's close by that you really trust and explain that to them. Or they've got these things on the phone now where you can even call and I think press a button or something to say that you're in trouble. I don't know what that button is. I think it's the hashtag or something. You know what I mean? You say something on the phone to someone to let them know that you're in trouble. I think a lot of people will have to do a research on that. You're going to have to find out more about that by doing some research. And letting them know that you're in trouble so they can send someone down here or wherever you are to come and see if you're okay. But it's insane. You know what I mean? It's insane. Those people are evil. You know what I mean? What I watched on that program, evil people. You know what I mean? And it's a step too far. Some of them, committing murder. Some of them has gone as far as like, you know what I mean, to frame someone and try to get them locked up. It's insane for something they didn't do. And this is just the general madness of what goes on in this world. You have to be very careful. And it's one of those things where some of these people in this world are absolutely fucked. Do you know what I mean? You have to be careful of who you interact with. And it's as simple as that. All right, cool. Just a brief touch on the Wheel of Time, because I'm watching that as well. Season 2 was decent. I felt it didn't do as much as season 1 did. It kind of, let's say, longed itself out, to be honest. Didn't keep me engaged for like first 3-ish seasons, 3-ish episodes, sorry. And it didn't keep me to the point of where I was like, cool, there was points where I took breaks in it because I was like, I don't know, you're still trying to figure it out. Do you know what I mean? And listen, coming off of season 1, you felt they really had to push boundaries for season 2, and I don't think they pushed enough boundaries. But it was decent still. It was a good ending, decent, fair and all of that. But yeah, it wasn't something that really, let's say, elevated and excited me to the point of like, cool, I want to look forward to season 3 and see what happens. So it is what it is, isn't it? So 6.7. I'll give Wheel of Time season 2. And cool, we'll move on from that. So, what do you guys think? Worst X ever? Have you seen the programs available on Netflix? What do you think of the Wheel of Time season 2? Have you seen it? Do you care? You can put your comments below on that one or keep it to yourself. Cool, we're going to move forward to to be a champion. All of that. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to come on obviously to react to the Champions League match day 1 and my reactions to them. So let's just briefly touch into this because obviously we ain't got a lot of time. There's a lot of things to touch on. So let's move. Okay, match day 1. It's Juventus 3, PSV 1, Young Boys 0, Aston Villa 3, Real Madrid 3, Stuttgart 1, Bayern 9, Dinamo Zagreb 2, Sporting Lisbon 2, Lille 0, Milan 1, Liverpool 3, Bologna 0, Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Sparta Praha 3, Salzburg 0, PSG 1, Girona 0, Club Brugge 0, Dortmund 3, Celtic 5, Slovan Bratislav 1, Man City 0, Inter 0, Savannah 1, Benfica 2, Feyenoord 0, Leverkusen 4, Brest 2, Sturm Graz 1, Atalanta 0, Arsenal 0, Atletico Madrid 2, Leipzig 1, Monaco 2, Barcelona 1. I mean, obviously the shock, Monaco beating Barcelona. I probably would have predicted a Barcelona win here, but it's a great result for Monaco. Good start from them. Atletico Madrid 2-1 winners against Leipzig. Atalanta and Arsenal draw. You know what I mean? Good draw away from home for Arsenal. Brest beating Sturm Graz 2-1. Leverkusen 4-1 winning its final. Absolute dominant, rampant performance by Leverkusen. Benfica 2-1. You know, Zvezda, you know, 2-1 win against them. Man City with a 0-0. Celtic being just brilliant. A score for Celtic, brilliant win for them. You know what I mean? Beating Slovan Bratislava 5-1. You know what I mean? Incredible result from them. Dortmund 3-0 against Bruges. You know, PSG winning 1-0. Yeah, I mean, sorry, Praha. I didn't expect them to beat Salzburg, but brilliant result from them as well. Liverpool coming back against Milan to beat 3-1. Good result for Liverpool as well. Dortmund beating Lille. Sporting beating Lille. I thought that would have been a draw. Bayern dominating, you know, Dinamo Zagreb 9-2. Sorry, I think it's 2-1. It's 9-2. Real Madrid 3-1. You know, I mean, good result for Villa as well, and Juventus. You know, but anyways, let's cut on to match day 2 and my predictions for match day 2. So, Salzburg versus Brest. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Stuttgart versus Slavia Praha. I'm gonna go again for another draw in this one. I'm gonna go 0-0 here. Dortmund versus Celtic. Dortmund are going to beat them 3-1. PSV versus Sporting Lisbon. Sporting 2-1 Sporting. Slovan Bratislava Man City 5-1 Man City. Barcelona Young Boys, they need to bounce back, Barcelona, so I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for Barcelona. Leverkusen Milan, good game, very good game, very interesting game. Leverkusen 3-2 Leverkusen. Inter Milan, Cravania, Inter. 4-2 Inter. Arsenal PSG. It's going to be a tough game, this one. Arsenal have to get a result here, don't they? I'm going to go for a very tight win for Arsenal. 2-1 Arsenal. Shakhtar Donetsk, Atalanta. Shakhtar. 1-0 Atalanta. Girona, Feyenoord. I'm going to go for a draw. No, Girona. Yeah, 1-0 Girona. Benfica, Atletico Madrid. I'm going to go Atletico. 3-1 Atletico. Liverpool, Bologna. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Liverpool. Leipzig, Juventus. I'm going to go for a draw. Draw 1-1. Lille, Real Madrid. I'm going to go for Real Madrid. 3-1 Real Madrid. Stone Graz versus Club Brugge. Draw 1-1. Aston Villa, Bayern. I don't see Aston Villa winning this one, unfortunately. I'm going to go for but you know what? It's at home, isn't it? And the Villa crowd are going to be up for it. So I'm going to go with the draw here. People will be like, you're mad. I think a high draw, 2-2. Dinamo Zagreb, Monaco. I'm going to go for Monaco winning that one. 2-1. And that's that for my predictions for match day 2 of the Champions League. We're going to move on now to the Premier League and the results for the Premier League and match day 5. So let's get on to that. West Ham 0, Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 3, Wolves 1, Fulham 3, Newcastle 1, Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1, Tottenham 3, Brentford 1, Leicester City 1, Everton 1, Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0, Crystal Palace 0, Man United 0, Brighton 2, Nottingham Forest 2, Man City 2, Arsenal 2. Now obviously touch on some of the reactions to match day 5. Chelsea winning 3-0 against West Ham, didn't see that coming. I thought they may have even drawn the game, but it's a good result for Chelsea. Villa beating Wolves 3-1, you know what I mean? It's a brilliant result for Villa, you know, in the Midlands derby. Good result for them, you know, come back, John Duran, you know, come off the bench again and making a difference. So Villa 3-1 winners. Fulham beat Newcastle 3-1, you know what I mean? Smith Rowe and Scorsese as well as Reece Nelson. It's a brilliant result for Fulham, you know what I mean? To be a very informed Newcastle team, you know what I mean? Southampton 1-1 against Ipswich Town. I kind of predicted this probably would have been a draw. I didn't put it on here, but in my mind I did think it would be a draw. But a late goal, so they managed to get a draw on that one. Tottenham 3-1 against Brentford. You know, Tottenham resuming as normal. I thought it would have been a bit peaky for them, especially when the goal was scored early by Mbeumo, but they came back and they won the game 3-1. Leicester City 1-1 against Everton. Everton are in peak conditions, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? It's right now they can't get a win, can they? They really can't. Liverpool 3-0 against Bournemouth. Yeah, I would have predicted a Liverpool win, so it doesn't surprise me there. Man United and Palace. Yeah, I think the draw would have been a fair result. You know, Man United are not in the best conditions right now, and Palace are on the up and on the rise. You know, some decent players there. If they keep playing as a team, I think Palace have got all they can do to probably even make it beyond the top 10. So, Brighton, you know, 2-2 against Nottingham Forest. Falling game, 2-2 game. But we'll come to obviously the game of the weekend, Man City against Arsenal. I want to touch on this because obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. Listen, to go to the Etihad and get a draw at the Etihad and avoid defeat, it's a good result. You know what I mean? Obviously, I know a lot of people would look into the context of the game and say, well, the sending off, was it really a sending off? To be honest, I think it was. Do you know what I mean? Even if it wasn't for the foul, I think kicking the ball away as well, the two things, it did probably result in a sending off. So I just probably would have liked there to be some consistency in the Premier League with these decisions that are being made, because it's not just that affected, there's other games. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just calling as I see it. So, but listen, it was a very enthralling game. Listen, for me, edge of the seat stuff, nerves were kicking in when it was 2-1. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant goal by Calafiori, I've got to say that. Amazing goal. But he's got to be at fault for the first goal conceded. Him, Gabriel, split open, ball down the middle, and Haaland goes and finishes, toe pokes past the keeper. Disappointed with that, to be honest. I think they could have dealt with that a lot better, but you know what? It is what it is there. Calafiori answered back with an absolute peach of a goal, and then Gabriel gave them a warning sign first, and then boom, he scored with a header. People say, was that a foul from Martinelli? No. You know what I mean? I don't think it was. I think the keeper should have been a bit more stronger in terms of where, you know, you're trying to jostle in that box. But not just that, Kyle Walker as well got done. Do you know what I mean? You're tapping the man 3 times to do what? To end up looking like a donut. And that's what happened to Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker out here just looking like a former shade of himself, a deeper shade of blue, literally. You know what I mean? Like the song by flipping, what's their names again? Steps and that. You know what I mean? The deeper shade of blue, nothing I can do to fall far away. Do you know what I mean? Like that, the step song. But it is what it is. At 2-1, when you're down to 10 men, you always run that risk against City, potentially losing the game. So I'm relatively happy we didn't lose the game, but I'll say I'm not overall pleased that we didn't manage to see it out and get a famous win at the Etihad. But you know what? It's a very good result for us. There's another rival fans obviously are celebrating. I mean, Man United. I've seen some Man United fans. I've seen some Tottenham fans. Seen some Chelsea fans. And you know, it's disgraceful. Do you know what I mean, on their part? But listen, I love the fire and the wantingness and the willingness to battle in this game. I loved it. It reminded me of the old school Premier League days of matches between us and Man United. So I liked that for those reasons alone. The fire was there. You could tell that these two teams want it, and I liked the fact that there was a battle. You know what I mean? It can get really spicy now down the line between us and them. Whenever we meet now, do you know what I mean? We're going to want to beat them. They're going to want to beat us. It's more now exciting for the neutrals to watch. But, you know, to fall asleep at the last minute and let John Stones creep in and score that, it was a bit heartbreaking. But you know what? As I said, I will take a point. You know what I mean? Considering we were down to 10 men and, you know, it's the Etihad and we could have lost with 10 men. So I'll take it. Cool. All right. Let's come on to the predictions really quickly for match day 6. Newcastle versus Man City. I'm going to go with Man City winning this one. It's going to be a very tight game now. I think 3-2 Man City. Chelsea versus Brighton. This one could end up being a draw, to be honest, because Brighton are on form. Brighton are really on form. So I'm going to go with a draw in this one. 1-1. Brentford, West Ham. I'm going to go for West Ham winning this one. A 2-1 West Ham. Everton versus Palace. Crystal Palace winning this one. 2-1. Arsenal versus Leicester City. I expect Arsenal to bounce back after the draw. 3-1 Arsenal. Nottingham Forest, Fulham. I'm going to go with a draw on this one because Nottingham Forest, do you know what? They may end up nicking this one. They're at home. So I think a draw on this one. Wolves, Liverpool. I'm going to go with Liverpool. It's going to be a tight game now. I think it's probably going to be a 2-1 Liverpool. Aston Villa versus Ipswich Town. This is the Ipswich Town's ground. I should have said it the other way around, but it is what it is. I think it's going to be Villa. Villa's going to take this one. Again, a tight 2-1 Villa. Man United, Tottenham. Either way, I don't care, to be honest. So I prefer a draw. I hope I do see a draw. To be honest, I think we'll predict a draw. 1-1. Bournemouth, Southampton. This has draw written all over this as well. I'm going to go 1-1 on that one as well. And that's that for match day 6. And cool. And that's all for the predictions. What do you guys think of the predictions? You can put your comments below on that one. You keep to yourself. And cool. We're going to move on now to AJ versus Dubois. A brief touch on that. Peak. That's all I've got to say on that one. Peak. You kind of look at it and say, what was AJ doing? To be honest, what was he doing? What was that game plan, to be honest, to go out there and box like that? It's crazy and insane. You know what I mean? Like, you do what you do best when you kind of take the guy to 12 rounds, jab, out box, and do all of that. You're going there looking for the knockout, hands low, these 1-2 things. It just looked off, completely off. I don't know what his corner was telling him. I don't know if it was AJ's game plan or his corner's game plan, but it was all wrong. And that's what it was, all completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? He looked like a deer in headlights. He looked like a guy that just came out and was an amateur boxer. Do you know what I mean? Back to his days when he was winning the gold medals and that, and all trying to go to win the gold medals at the Olympics and that. It just looked mad. I'm thinking to myself, this is not the AJ we're used to seeing here. Yeah, I mean, the guy usually knows how to throw punches and, would go to the body, would probably even outbox the boxer in terms of where you're holding the rounds, you're making it last for 12 rounds to make it, let's say, an ugly fight. Not say a clean, but in terms of like where you're winning on points, you're making it very ugly for the crowd to watch. But I don't understand the game plan. It was crazy to see. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself, bro, like, you can clearly see here that this is not working. Why haven't you changed this? And the corner as well, and it took for him to get rocked after the first round and the second for him to start going, oh, you maybe now need to keep your hands up. Like the Lloyd Banks song, hands up, when I'm in the party of me, when the numbers I'm gonna see, I said hands up. But you weren't doing that at the start. You were just looking reckless out there, trying to go and, let's say, go for the knockout. But you ended up getting knocked out yourself on the counter punch. Bro, it wasn't looking good at all, and it's not looking good for him, man. Listen, I think a lot of the people expected AJ to win this fight, including myself. But then that happened. Do you know what I mean? So where do you go from here? And he says he's not going to quit. He's just a fighter. He keeps going. Okay, fair enough. But your next fight, you need to win your next fight. This is a must win. If you don't win it, bro, it's curtains. Like, even I think after this should be probably to the point where you should take a long recuperated rest and probably even go back to analysing that game plan and really saying, you know what, that was a wrong strategy. Maybe I shouldn't have gone with this one and all that. Sorry for the background noise. People are drilling outside, but it is what it is. So you have to look at that and you have to say, bro, where did I go wrong? And assess that. I'll probably even change the whole game setup with your coaches. If your coaches came with a plan, say, yo, scrap that. Let's go back to the old stuff man was doing before. But to stick with that style was criminal. It was criminal behaviour. I'm sorry, AJ, but it was wrong. The whole thing was wrong. And that's all I have to say on that. But yeah, what do you guys think of the AJ Dubois fight? You can put your comments below on that one. You can keep it to yourself for that. We've come to the end of the podcast. I know I've gone over the time a bit, probably gone to the 45, probably close to 15-minute mark. But listen, I appreciate you guys. If you're still watching, you're still checking this out. You know what to do when my train of thought's gone. I'm sorry, the drill now started to caught me off guard, but it is what it is. So you know what you usually do here when we finish, all of the social, all of that below, if you're feeling all of this, all of that there, to the channel and all of that. But yeah, appreciate you guys' time. And you know what? I usually do it when I finish. That's completely the wrong show. You can check that out. It's coming soon, by the way. That's the Lincoln team. But yeah. Peace, love, uni, have fun, and you're either all in or clear out.